Harold Kim Tai is asking, if he was to turn back the clock, what would the other Obama change, meaning you?
I don't understand the question.
What would you change if you you could change anything?
Right.
Especially after writing all that you've written.
One thing that I would try to change, and I think about it, is I wish I had gotten to know my father more. You know, this is something.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, it was only the first 7 years when I was very, very young that I got to know him, and those were very unfortunate experiences for me and my mother. But, you know, other members of the Obama family got to know him much better than I did. And it's just unfortunate that we never had a chance. There was, I talk about the book, Jeff, about one time when I came close to going to meeting him. And there was a fear inside me, and I turned back at the last moment. But you know, I heard many, many years later, when I brought my wife to Cogello, the lady mentioned about going back to Cogello. And I remember that at that time, a relative told me he had met my father, and they had talked about me. And my father had said, you know, he will be back. He's my son. And you know, this was something which very touched me because it was a voice, it was a message across the years. And it showed a connection with a person who was tortured, but also a remarkable person in his own way.
Yeah.
Our fathers, you know, fathers are so critical in terms of children's lives. In some ways, I think, Barack, people talk about Barack a lot, and they talk about me. And I think what happens is that if you look, at the end of the day, sons often try to achieve their father's dreams or correct their mistakes in their lives. And I think Barack has been trying to achieve my father's dreams, but I've been trying to correct his mistakes in some ways.
So when Barack, can I call him Barack?
Sure.
Is that okay? Just for the record.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
No, I call him Mr. President.
He'd be happy to be here.
I hope he's coming before he leaves office. Is that why he wrote Dreams from My Father? Is that why he wrote that?
You know, Barack was writing his book to achieve, I think he was trying to achieve some sort of identity and trying to understand more about where he came from.
And closure.
And closure.
Yeah.
And closure, because he didn't have a father except for 1 or 2 days. And that was a tense experience. Even that experience was tense.
Yeah.
But to live without your father, but you know, is an intense thing. Children are affected by the absence, like he was, and by the presence of your father, like I was.
Yeah. Deep, man, deep. I have an uncle of mine, Uncle Nick. He's,
Okay.
I think your dad used to work for Shell?
Yes.
At some point.
At some point.
My Uncle Nick is the one who employed him.
Wow.
Right?
Small world, Jeff.
Tiny world. And a lot of people I talk to, you know, the one thing they said about your dad, and of course you know this, is that booming voice he had.
Yes.
He had a booming voice.
Very big British accent, and he could be heard across the room.
And presence.
Yes, a lot of charm.
A lot of charm.